I'd like to share a few poems from my book, Windows and Doors. The Mist and the Fog. Somewhere in the mist and in the fog of early morning, between the place of waking and the place of deep, deep sleep, there is a dream fullness that lingers just long enough to be comforting. It stays around just long enough to plant its joy, become a friend. It is the oddness and elation of a cherry tree in full bloom out amidst the snowfall of a December morning. Something is awkward, but yet so delightful. I have seen this place 1,000 times through these eyes. I have felt this place in 100 lives through this heart. I have walked in and among this place through this door from endlessly from before it all began. Every life and door and heart beckons me to lean into the fog and the misremembered feelings of long ago days, of yesternight dreams, when love and innocence were the moist wetness of the mist and the very pulp of earth I stood on to dream. Tears for the desolate places. My tears are attracted to the desolate places of the land and heart, to the barren, dried-out soil of the earth and the mind. My tears run down the broken glass hanging lifelessly from the pane of the window of time and remembrance. Incidents, unattached to the glazing of organized thought and traditions not held full-blown by the memory, have been allowed to escape its confined view. These windows can no longer hold back all they have harbored deep within. These eyes can no longer keep my tears from seeking union with the desolate and distant places, hungering for affection and a warmth. They long for the oneing of feeling and being, of pathos and the flesh. The repulsion of fields. The repulsion of fields grows in the same rhythmed fashion as the steady collapsing of my ego falling in upon itself, in and always in, drawing all matter in upon the wake of its own collapsing. A similar opposition of the repulsion of all fields. Behind the apparent solidity of all we hold so dear is the thundering emptiness of nothingness. No government, no stock exchange, no religion, no science. Only a mass of infinitely invisible vibrating strings that sing softly just enough to entice each other into illusory resonance. We know it to be so because it seems so, and thus we build a world looking through the imagined window of the mind and find that we have slowly woven into truth. A nautilus knows something of its wholeness throughout, even from its innermost chamber. The ripples on the pond somehow share the tale of their beginning with the first fall of the pebble onto the stillness. The ache of the familiar. Rarely does a person escape childhood without learning something so well as to cause a pain in adulthood, aching for the familial impression of the familiar that once was strong but is now so faint as to be only the remembrance of the smell of roasting garlic and tomatoes. Tangled together in the windows of our longing remembrance are the ample but not quite complete thoughts that whisper a simple hungering drool into the doors of the heart of our long-journeyed, aching but steady feet. We have cried our beginning all the way into the middle of our memory and forgetting. Everything I do is a simple attempt at making my sauce to taste, if not the same, better than hers. I long for the familiar. It is the way I turn my head just a bit to the left and looking up and off to the right, that creeps into the cells of my aging, somehow triggering to go off just at 35, like it did in him. It is the shadow of a thought process that was his all through my childhood, that leapt out for me when I turned 20 and was in the thick of my intellectual days. It is the caustic wit that was hers, that I wove into my life from my childhood right in and up to this very day of my life. It is all in there. Each and every one of them is a clean threshold and an open frame. In on the me that has become a part of this spacious cosmos I now inhabit. Then is now. I am then.